welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I decided to share with you these study tips that you should definitely try in your life. I know that most of you will be having exams in I think the next 1 to 2 months, or might be having them now. There would be practical exams, normal exams, theory and everything, and I thought these are the study tips or tricks that I followed during my time and will continue to follow, because I swear by all of these and I think you should also definitely try them. So without any further ado, let's get started. But first things first, here is an update on my CUET video. The first list came out and I have gotten a college. Okay, I'm giving you this hint, dropping this hint, but I'm not going to reveal which college I am into, because I'm going to be making a college reveal video, like one video in which I'll be sharing with you all my CVT details as well as my college details. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. I am pretty sure it will be coming out pretty soon, this month itself, I promise. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. The first and the foremost tip that everyone should follow is to plan out your whole academic year or your academic month on a calendar. So what I used to do is, if my exams are approaching, maybe unit tests or exams, main exams, what would I do is, in our school diaries, we had a calendar. Everybody has a calendar. Even if you do not own a school diary, you can take printouts of like calendars, and if you want it to be cute and aesthetic, you can go on Pinterest and find the calendar for that month. So for example, October calendar, something like this right here. Then I would sit down and I would write down in each day what chapter I need to cover on that particular day, so that I have an estimate as to how many days it will take for me to complete my syllabus. This is a very important and very useful trick, because it allows you to walk with a mindset of as to how you need to plan your studies and how well you can cope with it. Also, you can give yourself breaks on like holidays, because you know your capacity. If you know that on holidays like on a Diwali you will be able to study in the morning but not in the evening, then accordingly reduce the amount of goals that you're putting for yourself on that day. Or if there is a family holiday approaching, if you're going on a vacation, just leave those 3 to 4 days gaps and then continue from where you left. So this planning out on a monthly calendar is super important. Second most important thing that you need to follow is to write down your syllabus and stick it on. Now wherever you study, be it your study table, or if you study on your bed with like a foldable table, you can write down your syllabus in clear capital letters with a black pen on a plain white paper. Write it down, all your subjects, all your chapters, detailed syllabus, everything, and then stick it onto your wall or on your pin board if you are putting it up on your study table. Now when you write your syllabus and you view it every single day, first of all, it's easier for you to memorize what all chapters you need to cover. You're thorough with what you need to cover, and secondly, the monthly planning becomes way much easier, and it also saves a lot of time. How? When you are sitting to study, you have made up your mind that you want to study for like 2 hours, 3 hours today, but in the beginning you spend around half an hour or like 45 minutes just seeing what the syllabus is, asking from your friends, juggling through syllabus books or like your textbooks. That takes a lot of time. So make sure you take a day out, take some time out. It will take around 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Take some time out, write down your detailed syllabus and stick it on for you to view and to plan out things more easily. The last planning tip that I wanted to give you is, every day when you are sitting down to study, make a to-do list. I know this is a very repeated and cliche tip, but it is very important. Make down a to-do list, your academic to-do list, and whatever you have written in the monthly calendar. For example, you have written that on 10th of October I'm going to complete chapter 1. Now when you are sitting down on 10th of October making your to-do list, detail down that chapter 1. How are you going to cover it? First, you're going to read it, then you're going to highlight the important parts, then you're going to make the notes, you're going to memorize the notes, and do practice papers. So now from that one chapter, you have taken out 5 dots, 5 bullets that you need to cover, and make sure that this helps you to actually be very, very thorough with that chapter and cover it in detail. Okay, so another important tip, again very cliche, is to study daily. Now, this we have been listening since our school days. Whatever is happening at your school, at your college on that particular day, go at your home and revise it. Now, to make it more fun and interesting, if you find it boring to repeat what has been done on that day, you can pretend to be a teacher. And this is what I used to do. So what you can do is pretend that there is a class of students sitting in front of you, and explain that hypothetical or imaginary class the same way your teacher or your lecturer had explained you. Repeat the sentences if you remember what they had said, and also read what had been taught to you. Now, this helps you to do it almost 60% of your task, because you have understood the assignment well, you have understood the chapter well. Once you sit down for preparation of that particular chapter, it will take around 3 times lesser time than what it would take for you to open and do a completely blank chapter that you know nothing about. So this saves a lot of time and also makes it very interesting. Even if you do not have memorized the chapter really well, or you're not confident enough, just the understanding that you had done that day without procrastinating will help you in your exams, and I assure you about this. Now studying is done, let's come to the notes part. Very important and very underestimated tip is that make your notes according to the pattern that you are studying in, or according to the pattern your exam is going to come. If you are going to have an MCQ exam, make your notes in an MCQ manner. If you are going to have a theory paper, make your notes in a theory manner. And if you're not confident with both of these, you do not know the pattern, you can go ahead and make the notes in bullet points. Now, if you remember, when we were in our junior classes, we would write down question and answer. We would write our notes in a question and answer format and continue that. Do not leave that practice, continue that. What I did was, in my 12th standard, when we had to do the MCQ paper, I literally made 1 marker MCQ questions. I prepared 1 marker MCQ questions with 1 word answers, the same pattern that we followed in 1st or 2nd standard, and that helped me to cover each and every line of NCERT, because this way you cannot miss anything. If you sit down and make huge theory notes, you are sure to miss at least 1 fact, 2 fact, or even 4 facts, right? Second most important thing about making your notes is to make them pretty. Make them pleasing to the eye and make them aesthetic. Nowadays, everybody likes everything to be aesthetic, be it their backgrounds, their rooms, their Instagrams, and their clothes, the way they look, the way they present themselves. Everything needs to be aesthetic. So why not your studies or your notes? Make them in an aesthetic manner. And if you're not so creative, you struggle with these things, go on Pinterest, just write aesthetic notes, and you will find so many samples as to how you can copy them in your notebooks. And when you make something attractive and pleasing to the eye, you are motivated to read and pick up your books again and again to see that eye-pleasing scenario. And this is what happened with me. I made my psychology notes in a very aesthetic and very eye-pleasing manner, so that even if I dreaded reading theory, when I would open my register, the colors that I would see in it, or the beautiful writing that I would see in it, will instantly lighten my mood, and I would go ahead and study because it's eye-pleasing and it's aesthetic. So why not? Lastly, for the tips, I really want to say that do it then and there. I know a lot of you, actually the main problem with us students is that we procrastinate. Even if we have the capability of doing something, we would end up procrastinating and thinking about when will we do and how will we do it. But do it then and there, because that will make your task 100 times easier, I promise. Now, some extra tips. I know a lot of you will be having your practicals, especially 10th and 12th students. So, some practical tips that I followed. 10th we do not have an external examiner coming to, interview us or basically take our practicals. But in 12th, we do have external examiners coming and taking our practicals, and they do notice a lot of things. First things first, be confident. The time you are confident, your body language changes, your speaking pattern changes, everything changes, and the teacher that is sitting right there, the examiner, will notice that and will give you, will take a good impression of you. Second, make sure you ask the permission of the examiner for almost everything. First of all, for coming in, may I come in, may I sit down? But also do not overdo it, otherwise the examiner might get irritated, because she's already taking the practicals of like 50, 60, 80, 100 students, and after that you're asking her the questions again and again. She might get irritated, so please do not overdo it. And also know your project well, know the basics of your project very well. The whatever you're making, you should know what the bases are, what is the topic, why have you chosen the topic, and such basic things, and you're good to go. Also, some tips on how you can write your papers so you impress the examiner. Okay, again, first and the foremost important thing is neatness. Even if you do not have a good handwriting and you struggle with good handwriting, you need to make sure that your paper is neat, because at the first glance, when the examiner opens the paper, she or he should see how neat the paper is and how neatly it is divided. If they do not see that, they might get irritated. If everything is crammed up, everything is messy, they might get irritated. So make sure you do not let that happen. Even if you do not have a good handwriting, make sure you have your paper to be very, very neat. After every answer, leave 2 lines, rule out your answers. Also, label your answers and questions very, very well. Make sure you do not mess up with the labeling and the numbering. This irritates the examiners the most, and obviously you also need to keep the track of numbers, so that when you're rechecking or you are coming back to an answer, you know what you are going to correct and what not. So make sure your papers are very, very neat. One more important tip that you can follow, that I followed in my 12th standard, is to make flowcharts. If you have theory papers and if you have theory subjects like pol science, history, psychology, and you have 5-marker questions, 3-marker questions, after writing your theory, make sure you make flowcharts beneath that particular answer. Just write the main topic. So for example, let's take an example that the question is life events of Mahatma Gandhi. So you're going to write the heading life events of Mahatma Gandhi in the middle. Take out 6 arrows or whatever number of points that you have written. So for a 5-marker, you're going to write 5 to 6 points or 6 to 7 points. Take out such arrows and then write one word for each of the points that you have written. And in this way, the teacher knows that you really, really know your answer. Drawing these flowcharts make your papers, again, eye-pleasing, creative, neat, and they show how much extra effort you have put in. But please do not do it if you are short on time. Only if you have time and you know how to manage it, do it. Otherwise, keep your main focus on writing and completing your answers. Make sure that in the long answers, you are writing heading for each of the topics, you're underlining it, you're underlining the important points, and please do not cramp up everything. So yeah, if you want me to make detailed videos on how you can crack your board papers or how I prepared for my board papers, then you can comment down below. I will make it when the time arrives. And I hope all of these study tips are helpful. If you follow any of those, please give them a try once, and if you do not like them, give me the feedback. If you like them, make sure again you give me the feedback. If you follow certain study tips that you feel are really, really beneficial, again comment down below so that others can also take the benefit. And I hope you like this video. Make sure to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.